Today is Monday, September 12th, 2022. It is also day 217 of Blender, and today I'm going to try to do an alarm clock, and I'm going to use this font called Digital 7 that I got from dafont.com, and I'm just going to use that font. So I'm going to download it real quick. All right, and then I'm going to hop on to Blender, and I'm going to click on a general file and then go here to geometry nodes. I'm going to hide the spreadsheet, and then I'm going to click on new for a new geometry node system. Then I'm going to disconnect the input from the output, and then I'll do Shift A to add a string to curves node, and that's going to be my text. I'm going to connect that to the output so I could see the actual text in the viewport, but I don't see that yet because I have nothing for my text as of now. And by the way, text and string are the same thing. So in this case, I think I'm just going to do, I don't know, 10:48, and I'll do maybe PM. Okay, and then I would want it to be standing, so I'll do Shift A and get a transform node and put that in between and just change the rotation of the X to be 90 degrees. And that's just telling Blender, hey, I want you to rotate 90 degrees along the X axis, which in this case is the red line. All right, and then from there to add some faces, I'll do Shift A and add a fill curve node, and I'm going to change the fill type to n-gons. And then for the font, I'm going to go back to string to curves and select the little folder and then just select the font that I downloaded. So for me, I have it somewhere in here. Okay, open font, and now it's looking like that. All right, and then the last thing would be to do Shift A and get a set material node and put that right in the end and then click on the material, and that's going to be my material. So in this case, I'm going to go to material properties and I'm going to go to material preview at the top right over here and just select the surface and change it from principled BSDF to emission. And that's going to allow it to be like glow in the dark. And I'm going to select the color and have it be red. And then just so it could be more prominent, I'm going to do Shift A and add a plane. And I'm going to press S to scale, and then G and then X, kind of move it, grab along the x-axis, and then go to edit mode, and then select the edge select, which is the second button. Select the back edge, and then press E to extrude the edge, and then Z to extrude along the z-axis, which is the blue line. And then back in object mode, I'm going to go to, oh my god, that's probably too much. Let me do Control Z. E and then Z, that's fine. All right, and then back in object mode, I'm going to go to the wrench icon, which is like modifiers, and I'm going to add a bevel to the edge, and that's just going to make it into a backdrop as I increase the amounts and the segments. I'm going to click on the little arrow and then click on apply, and then right click shade smooth, and then I'm going to go to material properties, add a new material, change the base color to black so that you can actually see it glow in the dark. And you won't actually see it glow in the dark until you go to render properties and make sure ambient occlusion and bloom is on. And now, in order to kind of see it actually glow in the dark, you have to increase the strength, and then you'll be able to see that glowing effect. All right, but I'm just gonna leave it kind of like around here for now. Now I'm gonna move on to making the alarm clock, which is a whole other thing within itself. So I'm just gonna move, let's see, all of this GX to grab along the x-axis, and then I'm gonna do Shift A and add a cube, and then I'm going to press S and then X to scale along the x-axis, and then S and then Y to scale along the y-axis. And then I'll go to modifiers and add a bevel, and then just increase the amounts, right? And the segments kind of like that. Just play around until I see what I like. So I think 0.17 would be good, 0.18, that's fine. And then I'm going to right click and apply that, and then Shift A and add a subdivision surface modifier. Make sure it's 2, just to make things simple here. And then what I'll do is I'll go into edit mode by pressing this, whatever, just go into edit mode. Anyway, I'm going to go to front view by pressing the button under the escape key and hovering over front. And let's see, I would want to select this over here. You know, it was a wrong idea to add a subdivision surface modifier. So maybe if I do Control Z, let me see if I could go back. All right, if I go into edit mode now, and I delete this, it's kind of still the same thing. Eh. Yeah, so I'm gonna get rid of the subdivision surface modifier, but what I would want to do is to kind of make a extrusion on this. So if I go into edit mode and I select this, I can't really touch this unless I go to face select the face, right? And then press E to extrude and then just do something like, actually before doing that, let me press I to inset. So to do something kind of like this, and then maybe scale on the Z axis, right, to shrink it, and then I can press on E to extrude, and then what's the axis? Y to move it a little bit back here. And then if I go back into object mode, this is what it's looking like. So that's great. And if I go into edit mode, and now I can just make this its own material, I believe if I just press on P and I can separate by selection, and then now it's its own thing, and I can call it screen or whatever I want to call it. So I'm going to call this screen in the outliner, and I'm going to call this the actual alarm clock itself. For the screen, I'm just going to go to material properties and click on new and give it a base color of black. Interesting. Oh, it's because I'm in solid view mode. So make sure I'm in material preview and then I'll be able to see that. And then let's see, what do alarms clock have? They have buttons, right? I'll do that later. Anyway, right now I'm just going to move this geometry node thing. Actually, I should probably move everything. GX to have it kind of here, and then maybe what I could do is shrink this and then do GZ to bring that up a bit on top of the backdrop here. And then I can just scale it up, GZ again, and then take this, right, and then do G and then Y, so to grab along the Y axis, and then shrink it, and then just position it to be at the top here. And then G and X, and then do that, and then shrink it a bit more, GX to grab along the X axis, and this is what it's looking like. Okay. Alright, so that's that. Obviously I have to put it so much more onto like backwards, and what I could do really easily is I can just turn on snap and then snap to face. Where is it? Face project. And then I can just do select this and then do G and then Y and it'll snap to its nearest face. So it's gonna snap here and you'll see that it's gonna be a little bit like clipping through. So then at that point you can just do G and then Y, just move it slightly, you know, upwards or forward, I guess. And there we go. And then I don't know, at this point, I don't know what an alarm clock looks like, to be honest with you. Like, what does it have? Buttons? Obviously, I know what an alarm clock looks like. I just don't know. I can't think of, like, on the top of my head, like, the design. Like, I don't know where to put the buttons. Um, I don't know. Let me go and just give it a material for now. I could always do something like that. And I don't think alarm clocks are even that thick. I could always do edit mode. Nah, never mind. I mean, I kid you not, I don't even know what to do with this. I don't know where to put the buttons. Maybe at the top, right? Shift A. Let me add a do I want to add a cube, a cylinder maybe? GZ, S to scale downwards. GZ to bring down, maybe turn on snapping so it snaps to the face at the bottom here. Shrink that a little bit. GZ again. And then probably do even more like S and then Z to scale on the Z axis. Then just put that in here and then maybe do G and then X to move over here, and then I kid you not, I don't even know what I would have that button be. Maybe I could scale it on the X axis, and then have that same scale be on the Y axis, right? And then do Shift D, and then just do G, and then X to have it on the other side. And then I guess I could change the color. Right click shade smooth, right click shade smooth, and then I can change the color to be, I don't know, black? That just doesn't make sense. What if I make the material metallic? Um, I can make it shiny and then I can make it metallic. So something like that. And then I could do the same thing for these two as well. So I can make it shiny by turning off the roughness. And then probably do the same. Actually, let me just delete this. Maybe not that shiny. Just a little bit like that. And then do Shift D and then just put that right there. And honestly, you know what I could do? I could probably do the control, what's the called? The boolean thing. Let me go to edit preferences, add-ons, and let me see if the boolean thing is on. So turn that on, object bool tool. And then I believe if I just do, let me do Shift D to make a copy of this, and then just do GZ to bring it, upwards after I turn off snapping. And then just bring this downwards, right? And then I'll do control minus. Oh, oh, select this and then do control minus. And then it makes a hole, right? That's because I turned on that add-on there. And then what I can do is bring this downwards and then just press S to shrink it a bit and then bring it more downwards so it looks like it's kind of like it has a gap. And then what I could do is give this thing the same color as this. And then I would make this object, let's say relations, make single user just materials, and then I can change the color of it to be black, right? And then it kind of looks as if, it's really like clickable, I guess. And then I would have to do the same thing for the other side. So I would just bring this, let's do actually, I'll just do Shift B and then do G, X and just move it here, right? And then delete this one and then do Shift D for this and then do G, X to move it over here, right? And I don't think it didn't make the hole. So I guess this doesn't make the hole. So, how would I do that? Then let me delete this, I guess. And then, I don't know. I would have to do it again. So I would have to do Shift D, GX, although it's not the same size, maybe scale it a bit. And then do Control minus again after when I select the button and then the actual alarm clock so that it makes the whole of that shape and then bring this down again. I just thought I could, replicate it, I guess not. So that's one thing, and I guess that looks more believable maybe. If I go to render preview, I'll be able to see it in a new light, and then maybe scale this to be a little upwards here. And yeah, this is what it's looking like. I would probably delete the light by selecting and then pressing X, and then yeah, maybe that was a mistake. Let me do Shift D, not Shift D, Control Z. Do GY, make it a sun, turn the strength to 3, and then just scale. I don't want it to be too light though. I mean, and then I guess the other thing I could do is do Control Alt Numpad 0 to align my camera to the view. I just don't know if I want to do it like this way or like this way. Actually, I'll go to front view by pressing the button under the escape key and hovering over front. Clicking front. And then doing Control Alt Numpad 0. And that's going to align my camera to the view. If that doesn't work, go to Edit Preferences, Input, make sure Emulate Numpad is on. And if it still doesn't work, make sure you have a camera by doing Shift A and adding a camera. And then to get out of this view, middle mouse button. To go back into the view, press Numpad 0. Alright, but I'm just going to align it a little bit better. Maybe something like this would be good. Hmm. Let me go numpad 0. Maybe doing something like this. And you know what? What could help is the reason I didn't want the light is because it kind of makes this like weird gray shading on the backdrop, but it does really give a nice effect to the alarm clock. So if I just don't want it to have an effect on the backdrop, what I can do is I can go into the shading workspace and then I can just go here to principled BSDF and then delete it and then do Shift A and add a saturation value or hue saturation value, connect that to the surface, and then just change the color to black, and then it'll just be pure black and it won't be affected by anything. So if I go back to layout and I go numpad 0, that's what it's gonna end up looking like, although I'm not sure I like that. I mean, let me look at my past stuff here. So do I like it when I'm able to see it or do I not? Oh, you know what I could do? I can make it, what do you call it? Let me go to shading. Let me just do Control Z. Oh wait, I can't do that. Let me delete this and then do Shift A and then add a principled BSDF. Put that in there, go back to how I want it, and then just do metallic. That's much better. And then roughness. But then I see start seeing a lot of that, which is not that great. If I go back into layout, you know what? I guess it's okay, it doesn't really matter. So I guess that's what I'm gonna render at this point, right? I could always change the strength so it's like way, what do you call it? Stronger than what it is. What was it? 3? It's literally not letting me select it. Okay, 3 or something. Alright, something like that. And then I think that's it, honestly. Yeah, so I'm just gonna go and click on render image, and then I should render that image, I guess, or whatever view I set it to, and that's what it's gonna look like. And now I'm just gonna go and click on image and then save as, and I'm gonna save it as today's date, and then R, and then render, save as image, and that's it for today. Bye.